second, for real, for real. I'm gonna be honest, y'all. I be tripping. Like, see? Dropping the freaking phone. Okay, there we go. I be tripping. Okay, y'all, we gonna see how this go. Cause I ain't never made no video while I was driving before, but I have my little stand. So we're gonna see how this go. Hopefully I don't back into nobody's car, Lord. Cool. We in this thing. So, my heat is like blaring. Hold on, relax. It's cold though. So I had previously said on my Instagram, even though I don't have that many followers, start following, that I wanted to do something different for TB Thursdays. And here it is. It's a YouTube video. And I need the horns. I need to cue the horns. However, yes, it's a YouTube video for TB Thursday. Don't be like me and not wear your seatbelt, please. Like, don't be like. So, like I said, I am doing this TB Thursday chit chat in the most basic of all basics, get ready with me form, because I'm already dressed, as you can see. But I got this robe on because I'm doing my makeup, and I'm such a child, and I freaking will get makeup all over my clothes. I'm already dressed for the day, so we're not doing that. So the, oh no, there we go. The article I chose for the TV Thursday, like I mentioned before, is called Something to Consider. So if you go to my website, and if you scroll all the way down, because this is like one of the freaking first articles I wrote. It's not even a full article. It's just a little intro to my behind the scenes. To an article entitled Good versus Good Enough, which was published through the Odyssey. So for anybody that knows me, or I guess has followed me for a while, you already know this is an extreme throwback because, child, I started writing for the Odyssey back in 2015. So yeah, so Good versus Good Enough. I wrote that in February of 2017. February 12th. Is that what it says? Yes, February 12th to be exact. What was I doing February 12th, 2017? Child, the ghetto. That's what I was doing, living a ghetto life. Just trying to graduate my undergrad. And so the stress levels were extremely high. The last TB Thursday, actually, fun fact that I posted, the How to Cope 3 Ways one, that was also brought to you during a time when, like I said, I was ghetto fabulous. Probably not fabulous at all with trying to graduate. And Good versus Good Enough came to me because that was also a time when I think I was just really trying to get my content out there. Like, when am I not doing that? And I was seeing just how other people were managing their social media sites and how they were just killing it. And it's like, I'm not. It was a time where my grades, I felt like, were completely subpar. I was taking 19 credit hours just trying to graduate on time. I put immense pressure on myself to graduate in May instead of like August and December. And now looking back at it, I'm not really for sure why I even did such a thing. Like, I'm gonna be honest, y'all. Just let me just talk to y'all for a second, for real, for real. I'm gonna be honest, y'all. I be tripping. Like, see? Dropping the freaking phone. Okay, there we go. I be tripping, okay? Like, literally, I will put so much pressure on myself to do 5,000 things and suck at all of them because I'm not prioritizing a darn one because I'm trying to do 5. Like, that's the type of individual I am. I have always been somebody that's mad ambitious, always someone that's like, I want it and I want it now. Like, that is me. So, anything that I wrote in 2017 was all about that. Was all about the I want it now. How do I get it now? Oh my gosh, woe is me. Why do I suck? And it's actually very cool that I have this website now because when I look back, look at me scraping out the freaking bottom. Don't fret, I got a whole nother one though, but we're gonna use this one up, okay? Anywho, whenever I read back on the things that I've written, such as what I'm doing now for TB Thursdays, I really be weak because I sit back and I think about it and I'm like, so much of my life has changed, but a lot hasn't, because in many ways I'm still this pressed, like, control freak psycho that's like, I'm just so ambitious. I need to do everything while I'm 23, as if I prayerfully don't have a lot more of life to live and many more years to accomplish these things. So, because this is getting way off track, this something to consider, aka Good versus Good Enough, was written at a time when I was really struggling with just self-confidence in terms of what I had going on. I was taking a lot of credit hours. I was also doing an internship, as well as being on exec board of a really cool organization at the time that was all about mentoring young women. So it's like, if you're doing any type of mentoring program, then you obviously know you have to have some advice and some encouragement to give. And in those type of spaces, I feel like it's really not healthy to pour from an empty cup. Like, I know we hear about that all the time, but when it comes to like mentoring the youth, you really got to be on your P's and Q's. And I just, looking back at it, I really wasn't. I was not on my P's and Q's because I was freaking out about my life, like, constantly. And so when I wrote Good versus Good Enough, because I know y'all probably like, okay, girl, what is it even about? But that's why you should be reading it. Good versus Good Enough was about learning the difference between, like, mediocrity and just doing the best you freaking can. Like, I think in this society, and I felt this way in 2017, I still do, with social media, I mean, it's a blessing, but it's a curse at the same time, because we're seeing all these things that these celebs are doing, our favorite influencers are doing. And instead of letting that inspire us to just get up and be our best self, sometimes we take it a little too far and we're like, wow, I'm just not SH. Don't, for one, don't cuss. Secondly, don't think that about yourself, like, at all. And so I was going through that, looking at how people were, you know, handling their brands, how people were just killing it, doing numbers, you know, blogs and stuff like that. And I'm like, bro, I have like 2 readers. Mind you, I didn't even have my own site yet, so I can't even imagine the pressure I've been putting on myself if I had already launched Bri'on W by time, or during this time. So yeah, so that came from a time when I was just really letting social media, instead of it inspire me, which I think it's really good at doing if you allow it to, I was doing what you shouldn't, and I was letting it be over freaking bored. And I was just going crazy mentally all the time, like, wow, I don't have this together in my life, I don't have that together. When in reality, I was doing the best I could. Like I said, I was taking 19 freaking credit hours. I was exec in an organization that I feel like has changed my life just in terms of me learning my reach. I was freaking, what else was I doing? Writing and stuff like that, still trying to pursue my dream. And at this time, I was writing for 2 publications, okay? None of my own, but yet 2. So, what's a weekend, you know? And so, I'm saying all of this to say, I think I'm going to do a ponytail instead of a bun. I'm saying this all to say that I found myself on this type of search where I was trying to figure out, you know, what's the difference between good and good enough? And if I'm literally just doing what's good enough for myself right now, if I'm just making it day by day, is that really like the worst thing in the world? Like, what if I'm not feeling like, oh, I'm going to conquer the world today? What if I'm not feeling like that for a little bit? What if I'm feeling like, you know what, Lord, just help me get through this next 24 that I have? Is that a bad thing? And so when you read the article, which I hope you do, you realize that that's not a bad thing at all. Sometimes, actually, it's the best thing that can happen, because it's teaching you to be grateful and to work through gratitude in that day. It's teaching you to not look at others and to compare your life, and for you just to really work on the present. I feel like when I read Good versus Good Enough this morning, after I selected it for this week's TB Thursday, I realized that, you know, if I had to rewrite it, I think that would have been my primary focus, because I think that's what the heart of the piece really is. It is about, sorry, I'm playing with this edge control, trying to get it right. So this could be slicked and tight, okay? Anywho, that's what it's about, y'all. That is what this article is about. That's what I think my whole life is still about. Because like I said at the beginning, I'm still that person that's like trying to live out my every life's wish, goal, prayer, and desire all in the same year, instead of realizing life is really a journey. And you know, you hear that kind of stuff, you be like, oh my God, that's so cliche. No, it's not. And you know why it's not cliche? It's not cliche because as much as we hear it, we really just get it embedded in our mind. Like it's ingrained for a season. And then it's like, yeah, no, we're back to killing ourselves every day trying to make something shake. But in reality, if you just gave yourself the time, it would already reveal itself. But I'm going to save that because I feel like that could be another TB Thursday because I'm sure I've written something along those lines about that. Going back to the seasons thing that I was just talking about too, that's something that I even talk about in Good versus Good Enough. I talk about seasons and I talk about just how, you know, there is spring, winter, summer, fall. Set that all out of order, but who cares? Just as that's a real thing, there's seasons in your life in terms of your spirituality, your finances, your mental, your physical. Like, we all have seasons in our lives. And you have to be okay with adjusting and kind of moving in whatever direction that season is bringing you in. Or taking you to. I cannot talk today. Of course, today I have to do a video. I can't talk. That's how it goes. Yeah, you have to be comfortable with that. Like, for instance, back then, when I wrote this in 2017, my whole goal was to walk out of the University of Bowling Green State by May. That was my entire life's goal at that moment, was I need to graduate by May. I do not have the mental capacity to stay here till August nor December. I would literally freak out and do something crazy. I gotta go to by May. That was kind of like how I was feeling. So that, I forgot my whole makeup bag, but it's right here. Never fear, it's right there. But yeah, that was my whole thing right there. That was my goal. And so, and that being my season, I had to be okay with taking a major financial cut because your girl quit her job to take those 19 credit hours, okay? So I had to be okay with being broke. I wasn't good in that area of my life. I was, truthfully speaking, not even good enough. I was subpar. And I don't even talk about that in that article. I was subpar as heck my senior year because I quit my job to make sure I could graduate in May. So that was one area of my life that was in a winter season. It wasn't spring nor summer, and for sure wasn't fall because fall is my favorite. Fall is a popping season. I wasn't in fall of my financial state at that time. No, sir. So yeah, when I fast forward now in my life, I'm actually in the summer, if you want to be just frank about it. Like, God has really been showing out lately for me in major ways. And so now I'm in the summer in my life. Financially, I would still say it's maybe a fall, spring. Could be better, but summer's on the way. It's about to heat up for me real soon. And now in my life, I feel like I'm no longer in a good enough space. I feel like I am approaching a good space, which it happens, you know. Sometimes you find yourself in good enough. Sometimes you find yourself at good. That's inevitable. That's going to happen. You cannot control that. And to be quite honest with you, something that I'm learning with the control freak that I am, that I just admitted to you guys I am, I'm starting to learn that that's not something I really want to do. I don't want to be able to control the seasons of my life because I don't know what God has in store, you know? When I first graduated, I was in a very, very, very dark place. Extremely dark place because I am the type of person, I've always had my entire life mapped out since I was like 5. Like, that's just the type of human being I am. So I just knew as soon as freaking May 6, 2017 hit, that's my graduation date. I knew, oh, it's popping. I'm about to just be in New York. I'm about to be doing this writing thing for real. And I wasn't. I was back at my parents' house. And even with that, I'll have to do a whole nother story. A whole nother video about that because I feel like my graduation story is quite fascinating, to say the least. But even with that, like, sorry, I had to go get my setting spray because I have a long day, so I'm gonna set every little thing I do to my face. And y'all will notice I really don't be beating my face. I don't know how, so I just do the best I can. So whatever. But like I was saying, yeah, I am starting to learn, as the control freak that I am, that I don't want to control the seasons of my life, because you never know what God has in store. Like, when I first got my first job after graduation, I just knew, like, oh my God, like, I had so many complaints, right? So many complaints. You makeup gurus, don't watch this, okay? Because this is a hot mess. But I had so many freaking complaints. Hopefully the camera doesn't fall. It was rough for me. I was doing a new field that I did not go to school for, LOL, which is still the field I'm in. I absolutely love it now. But yeah, did not go to school for journalism, had no intent on doing journalism. Tried a little freelance gig like once when I was in school, and I was like, yeah, no, don't like that. And I didn't think I was going to do it again, and I did. And so it was such a rough adjustment for me. It was not anything that I remotely wanted for myself. Like I said before, I wanted to be in New York City, and I came back to Bowling Green. Like, for people who are watching this that don't know anything about BG, like, it's cool, but that's primarily, it's a university city. Like, the university controls everything. So if you're not about to be going to school there, chances are you're not gonna like it, because that's what it's for. It's built around the university. I don't know what BG was before there was a school. And for anybody who's watching this, I'm not really for sure why you would be watching this, but if you're like somebody that's lived in BG all your life and you just love it, I'm sorry that I said that, but that's how I feel. And that's how I felt. I felt like, God, why the heck are you bringing me back here? Like, we talked about New York, Jesus. We talked about Chicago. Like, why am I here? What you doing up there, big boss? Like, this ain't it. I'm like, I've tried to change my life. I cut out a lot of ratchet things I was doing because I knew that this day would come. Not to say that that's how God works, because I don't believe that. But sometimes, you do, when something happens that you don't want to happen. You be looking like, why is this happening? What have I done to you in the past? And you're like, yeah, payback. So, that's how I felt. I was struggling mentally and complaining, and I had no idea that everything that I've been through the last year and a half regarding my job was all for my good. I definitely feel like I was in a winter season, going back to the whole seasons analogy, when I first moved back, and I feel like I've been in a winter season. But honestly speaking, I've been in a winter season because that's how I was viewing it. I didn't have it in me at the time to view it as a fall or even a spring, which I believe it was, because so many lessons I've learned have led me to where I'm about to be in life. And just now, I'm in the space where I can look back and say, wow, God, like, I'm sorry. Like, forgive me for acting like you didn't know what you were doing. Because I was too stuck on trying to be good that I didn't realize I was being just good enough for you to take me to where you wanted me to go. Ooh. A word. Let me repeat. I said that I didn't realize that I was just good enough for God, for him to say, I'm going to meet you halfway and I'm going to take you where I want you to be. Boom. Okay? Let that sink in. So, yeah. Now that you've let that sink in, I'm assuming. That's where I was at with it. Like, I had no idea what was next for me, as none of us do, because that's not how life works. And if you are somebody that's spiritual like me, no matter what God you believe in, I prefer Jesus, you know that that's not how he, she, him, whoever wants it to work. That's not how these things go. That's all I'm trying to say. Is that, we live in a world that is full of just you feeling like it's a rat race, and you feeling like, oh, I have to do this, that, and the third, and I have to, this highlight is beaming, so I'm going to calm it down. Bri'on's Fenty goes crazy for trophy wife. You gotta calm it down a little bit. But, it's not meant for you to know everything. And you cannot let this rat race that we see on social media get you entangled and feeling like, oh, good enough is not, it's not right. I have to be the best. I have to be at GOAT status. Listen, every single GOAT, I don't care what it is. If you're thinking about music, if you're thinking about freaking, I don't know, business, if you're considering sports, anybody that is a GOAT in their field, they were just good enough at one point. It's steps, it's work, it's progress, it's the whole entire nine, okay? It takes time. And while you're going through those different seasons of your life, when you realize that you are just good enough, just barely making it, honor that. Because that just good enough is going to get you to the good. And the good is going to get you to the great. And the great is going to get you to the anomaly status. And people will be talking about you one day like, wow, they came from this and look, they've elevated to this. Why? Because you didn't diminish yourself and you didn't look at your good enough moments as subpar. You looked at it as like, you know what? I'm giving my best. And whenever you give your best, God and the universe, they honor that. They don't play about that. You give your best, and they're going to meet you with strength and grace to get to the absolute best that you could ever produce. So that is what this TV Thursday was about. Gotta pump this because I'm running out. The article will be live in my bios from 12 a.m., which has already passed, obviously, if you're watching this, to the next 12 a.m. of Friday morning. And so just a heads up, even I know because I'll probably be posting this on YouTube, hopefully. It's not just like once I take it down out of my bio, that does not mean that the article is gone because it was on my website before I put it in my bio for those 24 hours. That's just for easy access. So if you see this later and you're like, I kind of want to know what the heck she's ranting about because, like, I felt you, sis, but I need to read it for myself, and which I would encourage you to do anyways. Just go to my website, which I will put in this video description, www.bri'on-w.com, all lowercase, and then you will see the article. This is what oh Lord, sheesh. This is why you have to have your phone freaking by your face when you're doing your makeup. This is what that looks like so far. But anyways, that is what this week's TV Thursday was about. It's about honoring when sometimes in your life you're just doing good enough. That is not something to be embarrassed about because good enough can be your best. And as long as you present your best, God and the universe will do the rest. Okay? Okay. Remember, the takeaways are sometimes good enough is your best. And as long as it's your best, God will do what? The rest. Toodles.